Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
And we've got some breaking news right now. A pursuit on the northbound 5 in Anaheim.
Stu Mundell and Sky 9 live over the scene. Stu?
Well, we're looking at it right now. Sky 9 just getting here, but this has been going on for some time. Actually, it's out of the San Diego area. We're just getting up here right now in the we're northbound 5 passing Lincoln. We're in the Anaheim area, just getting overhead right now. You can see California Highway Patrol chasing that vehicle. The original one, apparently this car tried to sideswipe some law enforcement down in the El Segundo area. Excuse me. Down in the San Diego area. That's how this whole thing started. Like I said, it's been on the freeways for quite some time. Came up from the San Diego area. Now the car doing about 70, 75 miles an hour almost the entire time, unless it's been hitting some traffic. That's what we've been hearing. Right now, though, as we're getting right by the Disneyland area here, northbound 5 freeway, not a lot of traffic right now. California Highway Patrol still behind it and in pursuit. Now we know from previous pursuits that law enforcement, they all have areas that they patrol. So these aren't going to be the California Highway Patrol from the San Diego area. These are actually Orange County California Highway Patrol. They've been handing it off back and forth. We've been listening in on the scanners. Basically, they're saying one person inside that vehicle. Apparently, this is the first time we're seeing some blinker action, and it's starting to move over to the right-hand lane. This is the first time we've seen that or even heard about that. Possibly, maybe trying to, nope, he's going back over again, back towards the middle. So this has been on the freeways since San Diego. Originally, this vehicle apparently tried to sideswipe some law enforcement down in the San Diego area. As we understand it, one person only inside the car. We've had those surprises in the past, but right now we're hearing one person in that car. And this pursuit continuing now, northbound 5 freeway, just passing the Disneyland area.
Stu, can you tell from your vantage point what kind of car this is?
You know, Juan, that's it. Honestly, that is like the first thing that I've been trying to figure out since we got here. They don't really say that. You know, they're not saying on the radio, oh, it's a, and then fill in the blank. It does appear to be some sort of SUV, and I'm not sure if this is where your plans are going with this, but we're wondering how much fuel this car's got. We understand might have started around the 7 o'clock hour. So this has been going on for about, almost maybe 2 hours. Now, cars like this, obviously, they're going to have more fuel than 2 hours worth on board. But, maybe he didn't have a full tank. So this might be what brings this thing to an end. Northbound 5 has probably been his choice since the San Diego area. So he's been here for quite some time. The 91 is the freeway that we're going to be coming up on here shortly. California Highway Patrol, they're in pursuit on the ground. And also they have a helicopter in the air. They have tried some pursuit intervention techniques, basically spike strips, but they were unable to deploy them because of other traffic out there. This is the first clean shot we've seen of the car lit up area. So it does appear to be an SUV, but I still can't make out what model.
All right, so if you're just joining us, there's a pursuit going on right now in the Anaheim area on the northbound 5 freeway, about to pass the 91 interchange there. We'll see what he decides to do. Looks like he's staying on the 5 maybe. But this car originally wanted for trying to sideswipe a law enforcement vehicle down in the San Diego area. And as Stu was saying, Juan, so this has been going on for about 2 hours now. Started in the San Diego area, now in Anaheim. We know it's an SUV. I mean, it may go until he runs out of gas, but right now, kind of clear sailing on the northbound 5.
Definitely clear sailing. We're making some discussion here what the original want was. Driving erratically is what we're hearing originally. Then we started hearing some other information. Right now, we do know it started in the El Cajon area. That was the magic word I couldn't get out earlier on, is the El Cajon area down in San Diego. You can see it, apparently we can see right now one person driving, appears to be a male driver. That was one of the things that they were asking earlier on. It is an SUV. Can't really tell what type of SUV, but it's not one of the bigger American it's not a full-size SUV. Seems to be one of the smaller ones. California Highway Patrol in pursuit. This person, very courteous as far as the pursuit suspect goes, using his blinker almost every time he changes lanes. We've seen these in the past start up here and work their way south. This is the first time in a long time we've had something start in the south and working its way north. It's been on the 5 freeway. That's also kind of interesting. That has plenty of opportunities. A lot of those little freeways, a lot of offshoots that he could have taken just about the same amount of traffic, but just been on the 5 freeway. Blinkers on again, passing the other vehicles down there, picking up a little bit of speed, probably in about the 80 mark right now. California Highway Patrol behind it, though, in force. They want this thing to come to an end. Original want, well, now we're starting to get different ideas, but we understand erratic driving, well, that's probably the safe bet right now.
Definitely some sort of aggressive driving, but as you've been showing us, Stu, he's been using his blinker. He's been going anywhere from 70 to 75 miles an hour, so that's as close as to the speed limit as you can get. Stu, are you still in Anaheim, by the way?
You know, we're actually moving our way north. We're probably just guessing right now, looking out the window. I would say we're in the Fullerton area, northbound 5. We'll get you some freeway off-ramps here in just a moment. Well, I know we passed the 91, so we're north of the 91. You're right about that. 75, you know what? That's kind of pushing it. I'm sure that law enforcement would pull you over if you're doing 75 on the freeway and they catch you. He's passing these big rigs down there. Those guys, they drive for a living, so they are going the freeway at freeway speed. So that's probably going to be about 55. So yeah, he's probably right in that 70, 75 mile an hour mark. They have one law enforcement helicopter above him. They got the California Highway Patrol behind him. And again, like we said, they've been switching them out. They started down in the San Diego area. Then they've been picking up and switching out the CHP units. Right now, though, we're definitely in the Fullerton area, and we're moving northbound on the 5. The next major that I can tell you is going to be a Alondra. Sorry about that. It's going to be Alondra. We haven't passed that yet.
How does traffic look ahead of him, Stu?
Unbelievably clear. It's one of those, it's just like we always see here when these chases go on. We have a lot of traffic when you need to get someplace, when there's a pursuit. It looks wide open. I'm looking up ahead, though, and I can see in some of those turns, you can see the tail lights out there. So there might be a little bit of, bunching up, but it is still moving very, very well, especially for a Tuesday night out here. And it, basically, CHP, what they can do right now is just kind of follow it. We're talking about doing spike strips, but to do that, they'd have to clear the freeway, or make sure that there's no other civilian vehicles in there, and that's kind of it's a difficult task for them to do, and we've seen it in the past on the streets. It's not that easy to toss that spike strip out in front of a vehicle, and now they're talking about freeway speeds, and on the 5, you've got multiple lanes, so it's probably not what they're going to do. Pit maneuver, I don't think they're going to attempt that at 75 miles an hour on the freeway. If he gets off the freeway, all that can change.
Well, but the good news in all of this is that he's actually not driving erratically now, although that might have been the original want. He's not driving too incredibly fast, and he's using his blinker. Looks like to be obeying some of the traffic laws. So really, at this point, the CHP officers can just follow him because he's not posing that much of a danger to the public where they must back off or put an end to it right away. They could just let him run until he runs out of gas, right?
That's probably what's going to go on. Either that or he'll change his mind and say, okay, I'm just going to pull over. Sometimes we've seen in the past they have a destination. They're trying to get to a location. Don't know if that's what's going on this evening, but he's definitely just kind of driving. He's biding his time. This is, right now he's making the choices. When that vehicle comes to a stop, that's all going to kind of change. He's not going to be making many independent choices on his own. Right now, though, California Highway Patrol still behind him. Next big cities that we're coming up on is going to be the Santa Fe Springs area. Of course, we got the 605 showing up here shortly. He hasn't taken any of the other freeways, so we'll see. Maybe this time it'll be different. Right now, though, just kind of moving along, 70, 75 miles an hour, northbound 5 freeway. A little faster than traffic. California Highway Patrol, though, they're down there in force, and they just want this guy to pull over.
So from the San Diego area, El Cajon, now into the Orange County and eventually the LA County area. That's quite a distance to go for just some aggressive driving. Apparently, as Stu's been telling us and we've been reporting, this driver apparently tried to sideswipe a law enforcement vehicle south of us in the San Diego area, and that's when they wanted to pull him over, and this pursuit took off. So far, we've been seeing this driver in what looks like a maroon or red-colored SUV going about 70 to 75 miles an hour on our freeways, and as Stu mentioned, pretty much has stayed on the freeway the entire time. We haven't seen this pursuit on any surface streets just yet. We've seen him use his blinker when he changes lanes, and again, pretty much going just above the speed limit there. So we haven't seen much erratic driving yet, but obviously this driver just doesn't want to stop and pull over.
Yeah, and Stu, you were saying that they were switching out the CHP units from the El Cajon area, now we're up into LA County. Is it because they want officers who are familiar with that area?
Could be familiar with that area. It's their beat. That's the area that they patrol, and is working his way into these different areas that they patrol. Right now, though, I can tell you, because we've been asking, Imperial is going to be the next major cross that we're going to be coming up on here. Northbound 5 freeway. They are doing another little swapperoo. It's going to be Santa Fe Springs, California Highway Patrol, Santa Fe Springs. Going to be taking it over here shortly. They are talking about possibly trying to do something, maybe give this suspect a little surprise somewhere along the way. But again, it's going to be very difficult to do at freeway speeds, and then of course with all the other traffic out here as well. These are going to be the traffic lanes right now. I just saw him make a quick lane change. He isn't getting off the freeway. This is the area where they're doing all that construction. So it's going to bottleneck up here, but this guy seems to be pretty lucky. The lights and sirens from California Highway Patrol might be helping to clear the way, as it would be. But they are doing another little swapperoo, so it's going to be California Highway Patrol, Santa Fe Springs going to be taking over here shortly. This pursuit continuing northbound 605 freeway, I think, is going to be what we're going to be seeing here in just a moment.
And Stu, usually those bottlenecks means traffic slows down, backs up a little bit. Are we seeing any of that right now?
Not at all, Juan. Not at all. It's wide open again. We saw some tail lights earlier on. That's probably what we're seeing with those where it backed up right there, bottlenecked up. We can tell you we just passed Florence, so we're getting very close now to the 605. But it does seem like because of what lane he's in, he's just going to stay northbound on the 5. Taking that number 1 lane right now and just continuing on. About 65 miles an hour is what they're saying. So I'm guessing that these other folks that are driving tonight, they're seeing those lights and sirens and then basically slowing down for that. You can see some of the North California Highway Patrol getting on the freeway there. But this is continuing on northbound. We'll see where this thing ends.
Yeah, so it started out as a driver driving erratically. We don't know if he purposefully tried to sideswipe a law enforcement vehicle in El Cajon or because he was driving so erratically that almost happened. Now, though, from what we've seen, he's been using his blinker and not going way too fast on the highway. I've actually been on the freeway where people are going faster than he is right now.
Oh, sure.
And he's slowing down a little bit because he's running into a little bit of traffic just passing that construction area right now. Again, we believe there's one person in the car. He won't pull over, but he's not doing anything that's too erratic right now. So for the time being, the units are behind him, and they're just gonna wait and see what happens. Has he passed the 605 yet?
Oh, we have passed the 605, and we're actually well established now in the Pico Rivera area as we're working our way, or Santa Fe Springs, Pico Rivera, as we continue to work our way northbound. They're doing that swap. That's what we kind of was watching. I wanted to see the one unit that was behind them drop out, and then the other ones take its spot. We saw two of the California Highway Patrol joining the chase, getting on to northbound 5, actually poised and ready on those on-ramps. 65 miles an hour, I just heard that very clearly. And like you said, you know, apparently that's the original want, reckless driving. We've seen more courteous pursuit suspects, but this suspect this evening using his blinkers when needed, basically just kind of moving the freeway speeds. Paramount is going to be the next off-ramp here, but he's not going to take it. We're just giving out locations. That's going to be it right there. So we're continuing northbound now. California Highway Patrol, they've got a tough one on their hands. What to do to bring this to an end? Just kind of follow and just see if this suspect pulls over.
Yes, Stu, and definitely want to share some information with our viewers. You were telling us this all started right around 7 p.m., now 9:36 p.m. This pursuit suspect has covered quite a distance. Look at this map on the right side of your screen. We started the pursuit down there to the south in El Cajon, and you know, basically put a plot point there where it is there, not too far from just north of Long Beach. That's 117 miles that this pursuit suspect has kept the CHP you know, going for quite a distance there. So you can see that for yourself. In just about 2.5 hours, he's gone 117 miles and hasn't pulled over, hasn't stopped, hasn't done any erratic driving. What we have seen him do is courteously changed lanes using his indicator and again, going anywhere from 65 to 75 miles an hour.
Did they do that switcheroo that you were looking for yet, Stu?
Finding out right now, we got great information. All of a sudden, it's just flooding in. It's a Nissan Rogue. That's the type of vehicle that they're chasing right now, and we're also getting information that it is a female driver. So there's just new information that we're getting that's not going to affect how California Highway Patrol treats this pursuit in any way. It's just little tidbits of information. Going to be coming up on the Rio Hondo in just a moment. That's one of our big rivers/washes out here as we're working our way northbound. Going to be into the Commerce area, so we're keeping an eye on it. The freeway, it does kind of back up when we get over there by the Citadel. There's always a little bit more traffic right there, so we might see some slowing, but this car basically using its blinkers, keeping freeway speeds. Earlier on, we heard, before we'd gotten here, we'd heard this vehicle getting, tangled up in a little bit of traffic and backups, but just kind of was keeping the speeds and just kept moving forward. And that's what this car is doing this evening. California Highway Patrol, if they have the opportunity, trust me, they are going to do something to bring this thing to an end. But until that opportunity presents itself, right now the safest thing to do for anybody involved, suspect, people around them, and officers is basically just kind of follow lights and sirens, alert the public, this is coming, and just be there, hopefully, when this thing comes to an end.
Yeah, Stu, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen once he hits the Commerce Casino and the Citadel outlets. That area usually does back up quite a bit just because the freeway narrows. And as you continue getting closer to downtown Los Angeles, you have several other freeways that kind of merge in there as well. So we should be seeing some heavier traffic even at 9:38 in the evening. We should be able to see that. So once he does pass that area, Stu, we're definitely curious to see what happens.
Well, now we can actually say she, because we found out that, it's a female driver taking authorities from El Cajon now into the Commerce area. It looks like she just passed the Commerce Casino and running into a little bit of traffic, just like you said, in that area right there. Running into a little bit of traffic. Female driver in a Nissan Rogue. Who's led officers on a 2-hour plus pursuit right now, but using her blinker and not going too fast, but wanted for reckless driving. And this started down in the El Cajon area.
We're wondering if, she obviously must know that they want her to pull over, but you kind of wonder as well. Here we have a driver who's just driving along our freeways right there, heading north, now getting closer to the downtown LA area. This starting in San Diego, so quite a distance, over 100 miles. This female driver, has continued driving this evening, and so far hasn't hit heavy traffic or anything significant, and pretty much has stayed there in either the number 1 or number 2 lanes, and using her blinker to get from one lane to the other.
I'm sorry about that. Marco's flying Sky 9 tonight, and we're making some moves out here trying to get around to the other side. I just wanted to see the passenger side. They've been talking about doing something. I don't know if they were able to deploy anything to bring that vehicle to a stop. Just past the past Atlantic, 710 is coming up. Juan, you were so right about that. You must be a shopper for sure. There was a lot of backup right there at the Citadel, but just passing or coming up on the 710 or just passing the 710 and just getting a different look at the car. Just wanted to take a look and see if maybe she had all 4 tires or perhaps might have lost one, but it does seem like all 4 tires are intact. So just kind of getting a different look this evening as the pursuit's going to be passing us underneath us northbound on the 5, just passing the 710.
And of course, because someone's leading police on a pursuit or CHP on a pursuit, the traffic is not as bad as it normally is when we're on the roadway, right? Again, this is northbound 5 freeway entering East Los Angeles now. Hit just a little bit of traffic there in Commerce, but she's still going strong on this Nissan Rogue. Again, this has been going on since about 7 o'clock, started in the El Cajon area, wanted for perhaps reckless driving. But since we've been over the pursuit, she's actually been driving, staying in her lane, using her signals and not going too fast, despite the open freeway that she's had in front of her. So a CHP, they did a switch out in the Santa Fe Springs area. Is that correct?
They were trying to do something out there. I wasn't sure if they were able to. That's what I just wanted to look before I said it. Glad I didn't really say it because it does appear she has all 4 tires still solid out here. Northbound 5 coming up on Olympic. If we haven't passed it, we just passed it then. Still moving northbound. California Highway Patrol, they've got a helicopter above. They got that light on it. They've got units on the ground chasing it. And I know that we're going to be coming up into the East LA area. I'm wondering if they're going to do another swap, because Santa Fe Springs is the one chasing them right now. They also have a division of California Highway Patrol in East Los Angeles. Haven't heard that swap yet, but just something to talk about. Also, we noticed it has the license plates. It's showing handicapped on the license plate. Maybe this is an elderly woman. Perhaps she's trying to get someplace. We just don't know. I can tell you though, blinkers have been used, lane changes have been proper. We can see those brakes coming on again because there is a little bit of traffic right there. Slowing for traffic is what we're hearing, and you can see the traffic down there. Some people doing what they're supposed to when they see those lights and sirens, get over to the right side. That's what they want to do. But others, maybe they're just not aware of what's going on. That vehicle, though, taking advantage of any opening out here, just kind of moving to keeping this pursuit going. Another truck there not doing what it's supposed to do, but pulling into that gore point to get the emergency vehicles to pass. But slowing down, a little bit more traffic getting into the East LA, well established into the East LA area right now.
And as we get into the East LA area, this driver is going to have several options. Of course, you could stay on the 5, take the 101 northbound, the 10 eastbound or westbound, and also jump on the 110 freeway headed to Pasadena or headed back south. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on this as Stu continues to stay above it with Sky 9 and see where she's going to be heading to next. Looks like she continues going northbound. And once again, we've updated that map we showed you just a little while ago. This driver is now almost at 130 miles driving since this all started. You can see there it started in El Cajon, where this driver apparently had some sort of aggressive driving with some officers, tried to sideswipe a car, and then jumped on the 5 freeway and has continued all the way now from San Diego, Orange County, LA County, now into the East LA area, and very shortly into the downtown Los Angeles area.
And not to mention, if she did start with a full tank of gas and just driving steadily as she has been, she could still make it for quite some time and some distance. So there you see a lot of people have, it looks like it's pretty clear right in front of her. You know, I don't know if you've ever been on the freeway when a pursuit comes by or is on the other side. It's actually really jarring because you don't see it coming, and then suddenly
it's behind you,
it's right on you. And if you're ever caught in that situation, just like Stu said, best thing to do is to safely get to the right, just like when you see emergency vehicles. But again, we're looking at this chase. She's driving actually, I mean, calmly compared to the other chases that we've seen. And Stu, so we're in the Boyle Heights area right now. She's still on the northbound 5, right?
Northbound 5 just past Whittier, and we're just continuing out on the northbound 5. Now, like you said, this started in the El Cajon area, and we know now female driver in a Nissan Rogue. And El Cajon, just in case you don't know, is down in the San Diego area. So this started right around the 7 o'clock, 7:30-ish, something right in that time frame. Now, the reports are, well, you know what, we're going to stay safe and just say reckless driving. There was some talk that apparently might have been some reckless driving towards other law enforcement. Again, we don't know if that's going to be the California Highway Patrol or some other law enforcement down in the San Diego area. However, fact is, we know that this vehicle got onto the 5 freeway and has stayed there ever since. California Highway Patrol got behind it and has been there since the get-go. Now, when we say California Highway Patrol, not these actual units that we're seeing right there. They do change out as they get into different regions, different areas, and where they patrol. So right now, we're actually still seeing the California Highway Patrol Santa Fe Springs unit, even though we're in the LA area, so this is going to be central for them. You know what, I don't know, possibly a California Highway Patrol guys so right now just going, oh gosh, Stu, you don't know what you're talking about. But I can tell you that this vehicle is continuing on about 70, 75 miles an hour, northbound 5. We did the East LA interchange, and now we're starting to get up into away from the Boyle Heights area, but it's continuing northbound on the 5. She really seems to just want to be on that 5 freeway, and that's where we've been heading. Middle lanes right now, traffic very light. We're looking up ahead. even more light. I can tell you, maybe up at Los Feliz in that area right by where the 2 freeway is, or Glendale Boulevard, we do see a little bit of tail lights. But she's just been able to maneuver through all that. She'll slow down with the traffic. If it got to the point where this is actually stopped traffic, though, that might be a little different. California Highway Patrol might take that opportunity. Right now, though, it's still moving northbound. We're passing the 110 freeway, northbound 5 freeway, and this thing started down in El Cajon. My
goodness. Stu, as far as you know here, we've been following this pursuit for quite a while. You said she just passed the 110 freeway, so next up would be what? Just stay on the 5, or is that 10 coming up as well?
No, we passed that 10 freeway. We're coming up on the 110 freeway. So this is going to be out by the, give me 1 second, out by Elysian Park. So that's the area where we are right now. So northbound 5, Elysian Park. You're going to be by the 10, by the 110. We're just north of Dodger Stadium. But this thing just continuing on out here, using her blinkers right there once again, just showing that she is courteous, even though originally it was reckless driving was what got the law enforcement's attention earlier on. I can tell you as I look up ahead, Los Feliz area, we're going to see some slowing. Is it going to be affecting this pursuit? We'll see when we get there. Right now, though, it's just continuing on. A little better than freeway speeds. California Highway Patrol chasing this car. And you can see up ahead, I'm going to do like a little bit of a showing more of what's coming up ahead. You can see freeway kind of wide open. We know law enforcement, though, they're going to start setting up. They're going to do another swapperoo here sooner than later. Northbound 5, though, she's going to have some opportunities. She might have the 2, but we haven't seen this vehicle even attempt to take another freeway. What her destination is, probably going to be a cell later on tonight, but right now, still northbound on the 5, keeping just that couple of probably a couple of yards away from the law enforcement as we continue northbound on this pursuit. Northbound on the 5, just getting into the Glendale area right now.
Yes, some point she'll be in the San Fernando Valley before you know it at this rate, Stu. Does the CHP have a chopper above as well, Stu?
Yes, they do. They have a helicopter above. There's one of the California Highway Patrol that's coming to join the pursuit. That was on one of the on-ramps right there. So this is what's going on. This one will take over. Don't know what position that vehicle will take over, but it's basically here to relieve some of the units from Santa Fe Springs California Highway Patrol. But again, they're just going to pretty much the same thing. They all have to follow the same rules. We're not going to see any drastic change. They're not going to come up or try to do a pit maneuver at these high speeds. If there's the opportunity, or perhaps maybe some heavy traffic or something like that, something might change. But right now, it's basically a follow and see type of situation. Started around 7:30, so we're getting into the 2-hour mark. This Nissan Rogue just keeps moving northbound on the 5, using its blinkers, center lanes. We know it's a female driver, and we also know there's handicap plates on the vehicle. So, but we don't know how that. We don't even know if the driver is the registered owner of this car.
Right, at this point, we don't know why she hasn't stopped. But at this point, it looks like authorities can just kind of ride it out, let her go until she runs out of gas or decides to pull over or exit the freeway. But for the whole time that we've been on top of this chase, she's been using her signals and staying in her lane, not doing anything erratic, although the original want for pulling this woman over was that she was driving erratically down in the El Cajon area. But so far, she's been staying straight on the I-5, not really posing a great danger to other drivers around her. And so you've got all these CHP units behind her just following to see what she'll do next. And then you've got, of course, the chopper above, and of course, Sky 9 over above, who we've been on top of this since it just made it into the Orange County area. So, Stu, it looks like those units behind her, and it looks like, again, free sailing for this woman. I-5 northbound, no traffic in front of her.
No traffic in front of her at all. We saw a lot of traffic here right at the Los Feliz. That's going to be the next off-ramp we see that's coming up. We saw some traffic there earlier on. Now, no traffic at all. Lena, we've been noticing and we've been commenting about how this person's driving courteous, being very cautious, using blinkers. All the good that she does right now that might be positives are thrown out the window from the earlier reckless driving, and then, of course, failure to yield. That's kind of going to be the big big one. I'm sure that's going to be the big part of that ticket when this vehicle comes to an end. Of course, we always poke a little bit of fun at this stuff, but you know, these things can change so dramatically, so quickly. So we always kind of want to be a little bit cautious on how we handle these type of situations. We've been watching though. This car has been basically driving speeds, freeway speeds, staying in proper lanes. Haven't seen this vehicle try to sideswipe anybody or do any of those erratic moves, get off the freeway, get back on. This has just been on the freeway, just a little better than freeway speeds when possible. When I say that, because when there's traffic, got to slow down. What else can you do? And that's what this vehicle's been doing. California Highway Patrol, the units from San Diego have dropped out long ago, but other California Highway Patrol units are there behind them. Right now, we're working our way northbound. The next freeways we're going to see here is going to be the 134. Again, I'm putting my money staying on the 5, but we'll see when that intersection comes through the shot here. California Highway Patrol, like I said, this is a tough one. They're going to just have to ride this out. If it has a full tank of gas, my gosh, somebody down at the station might do a Google on this. There's a possibility this thing could go all the way up to San Diego. From San Diego to San Francisco. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it as long as we can. But California Highway Patrol, the ground units, they're going to stay behind this car till it stops.
Yeah, what's interesting about this pursuit compared to others that we've covered in the past, usually someone who's being chased by either local law enforcement or the California Highway Patrol, they eventually get off the freeway, start circling a familiar area, at least an area they may live in or they may know somebody at. But in this case, this driver has gone for over 130 miles from San Diego now into the Los Angeles area, and shortly will be in the San Fernando Valley. So again, that's quite a distance there, and our map there on the right-hand side of your screen kind of gives you an idea of just how long that trek is whenever we try to make that journey southbound or northbound to get somewhere, even on vacation. It seems like such a long journey, but this driver has continued to keep the CHP right behind her there, moving at pretty much freeway speeds, anywhere from 65 to 75 miles an hour, as Stu's been telling us. And there is the California Highway Patrol. They have been in tow since the very beginning. This apparently starting right around 7 p.m. This driver wanted for some sort of aggressive driving, apparently may have tried to sideswipe or become somewhat aggressive
Burbank,
with a law enforcement vehicle. So once we get this more sorted out, we'll definitely figure out exactly what had happened. But here's what we have, a female driver continuing to go northbound on the 5 freeway. Before you know it, she could be heading the 118 freeway, the 14 freeway out in Palmdale, Santa Clarita area, and on and on.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's chosen to stay on the northbound 5 since the whole chase began, and really she's actually made very good time from the El Cajon area.
Kind of jealous about that.
I was hearing something about Burbank, Stu. What area are you in right now?
We're in Burbank right now, and we're just passing Alameda. This is going to be Alameda in the Burbank area off the 5 freeway. We did do that 134 interchange like we were guessing, just stayed in that center lane. Coming up here on Olive right now, smooth sailing, wide open. I can tell you the same type of deal as pretty much as far as I can see. Extremely light traffic. The vehicle now, in the past, we've seen it get up to 70, 75 miles an hour. Now still about 65 is what we're hearing, but still passing some of those big rigs, so maybe those numbers are just a little off. California Highway Patrol, though, they're still on the ground, and the helicopter from California Highway Patrol still above, basically doing the calls right now to where it's letting the units know where it is. And also, when they're talking like that, they're letting other officers, California Highway Patrol officers, know this pursuit's coming their way. Sometimes they'll position themselves, not get involved, but will position themselves just in case it comes to an end near them or around there where they might need to maybe have to assist. So that's the type of situation that's going on right now. Just passing Burbank in Burbank. And I'm sorry about that. We're going to be coming up on the Empire Center here pretty soon. Traffic very, very light. Again, where did this thing start? El Cajon. If you guys are just joining us right now, this is a pursuit that started in the El Cajon area. Sky 9, not over it from the El Cajon area. We picked it up in Anaheim. We've been listening to it, though, for a good while we're trying to get down to this chase. We do know now. In the beginning, we didn't know. We do know now it's a female driver. We know it's a Nissan Rogue. The original want, we're going to stay with reckless driving right now, but there may have been some aggressive driving towards an officer, which is a very serious crime. California Highway Patrol got involved somewhere along the line and was, as soon as it was on the 5 freeway, it's been on the 5 since the San Diego area. Still continuing on, northbound 5 freeway, just as well established in the Burbank area, but we're going to be leaving that here shortly. California Highway Patrol, they want to bring this thing to an end, and of course they are working to see what they can do, but they're going to have that opportunity. It isn't good. We're not going to see anything dramatic like a pit maneuver at freeway speeds, and to use spike strips on a freeway, that's going to be a very risky business. We've seen the officers from different law enforcement agencies, the Sheriff's Department, LAPD, try to use the spike strips even on streets or the very narrow streets, and in the past they've had those issues where they can't get it deployed quick enough, or the suspect sees them and drives around them. Just imagine trying to do that in 4 lanes of freeway traffic with other cars around. So spike strips, probably not going to be the thing we're going to be seeing here, but you know, stranger things have happened. California Highway Patrol, they've got units on the ground. These are not the units that started the pursuit down in the San Diego area. Every time we get into a different city or a different area, they'll switch out. They have divisions, just like LAPD, just like the Sheriff's Department. There's different divisions that patrol different portions of the freeways. So they've switched out multiple times to this point that we see right here. That helicopter, though, that's kind of, I'm not really sure. That may have come from the San Diego area. This pursuit been going on since about, let's be conservative, say around 7:30. So 2.5 hours. Nissan Rogue, female driver, speeds about free.
Okay, this is live breaking news coverage of a CHP pursuit of a female driver that started in El Cajon down in the San Diego area, over 100 miles driven from there to where we see this now in Burbank. This is wanted for reckless driving. This is KCAL 9 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Jeff Vaughn alongside Susie Sa. We understand that this is now northbound on the 5 freeway, began in San Diego County, Orange County, and Susie is now in LA County.
Yeah, this pursuit has been going on for a good part of 2.5 hours now. That started in El Cajon, as you were mentioning, and we picked it up in the Anaheim area in Orange County, and it's gone through the cities of Fullerton, Buena Park, Santa Fe Springs, Norwalk, where the driver, who is a female driver, as we understand, ran into a little bit of traffic. Then more than 100 miles in 2 hours through the city of Commerce, Boyle Heights, Elysian Park, and now in the Sun Valley area. And the question that we have been asking is, how full was that gas tank when this pursuit first began, Jeff?
Seems like it might have been pretty full. Now, this is a Nissan Rogue, so it's not going to be a gas guzzler. It's going to sip a little bit of gas. This was reckless driving. We understand the driver hit a police car down in El Segundo. But despite the reckless driving want for this vehicle, it doesn't appear that the driver has had any sort of reckless tendencies since then. This is a handicap license plate on the back of this Nissan Rogue. We understand that this individual has used the turn signals when it comes to turning, hasn't really gone that much above the speed limit, saying anywhere between 70, 75 miles per hour on the highway. As you know, it's 65 posted speed limit. So is really behaving unlike a reckless driver, which she was wanted for down in El Cajon.
Yeah, using her blinker whenever she switched lanes, which is also very unusual, especially for a person who's very desperate to get away from law enforcement officials. And again, as we mentioned, this began about 2.5 hours ago in San Diego County in El Cajon and has been going on since then. And the CHP has actually been switching different CHP units in and out because of the vast area that this pursuit has covered.
Yeah, probably the different areas and jurisdictions where they are. Again, this started down in San Diego. Let's go back upstairs to Sky 9. I believe Stu Mandel is standing by with the call of this. Now, Stu, this is going on for over 2 hours now. I know at one point in time it was like 127 miles. It's got to be more than that by now, right?
Oh, definitely. It's clicking off. You know, that kind of math is beyond me, Jeff, for real. We just kind of sit and watch. We can tell you, though, 70 miles an hour is what we're doing right now. We're definitely in the Sun Valley area. We're going to be coming up on the 170, where the 170 dead ends into the 5 freeway. It's been on the 5 pretty much since the get-go. This driver, female driver as we understand it, got onto the 5 freeway somewhere along the line and stayed there the entire time. So many opportunities, off-ramps, of course, and then other freeways. But it's been on the 5 freeway. Seems very determined to go north on the 5. We've seen these in the past go the other way. We usually pick these up here, and we watch them go south down the 5 freeway. This is the first time in a long time that we've seen one come northbound. Right now, though, we're going to be getting to the Pacoima area pretty soon. 5 freeway here, the 170. So you don't really have a choice to get onto the southbound 170 right here. So it's going to be on the 5. But the 118, maybe there's an opportunity to be the first change we've seen in almost 2 hours. That driver, though, wanted for reckless driving. California Highway Patrol been basically on this the entire time. They've been switching out their units. They've been talking about possibly using spike strips if they can. The issue is they haven't had that opportunity. If they're going to do a pit maneuver, I don't think they're going to do something like that, just because of the freeway speeds and the danger to that suspect hurting herself and or any of the other civilians, and of course officers as well. So that's kind of out right now. I can tell you we're coming up on Osborne. We're going to be in the Sun Valley area, or Pacoima area now if it's Osborne, and we're continuing northbound on the 5. 118, I can see it up ahead. Traffic, though, smooth sailing. I can tell you, it might be a little early to talk about it, but I can tell you it's the same type of deal. We've seen these in the past. If she stays on the 5 freeway and starts climbing up the grade up there north of Castaic, we're going to have to drop out. And also the California Highway Patrol helicopter most likely will drop out. The ground units, they're going to keep following it. Like you said also, smaller SUV, sipping gas. I was wondering if somebody would do the Google on that, but you know, you can figure a tank of gas might get you from San Diego all the way up to San Francisco. So this vehicle, you know, maybe she just wants to have those last moments of freedom. Maybe she has a destination. Hopefully we'll find out somewhere in the end. Hopefully nobody's going to get injured. But right now, 75 miles an hour, northbound 5 freeway, passing Van Nuys Boulevard out here, northbound 5.
And Stu, just to touch on what you were talking about just a minute ago about the Nissan Rogue, I looked it up, about 33 miles per gallon if we're talking about a 2017 Nissan Rogue. 14.5 gives you a full tank, 14.5 gallons. So if you do the math, that's a little under 500 miles for a full tank. So if we're talking from San Diego to LA, that's about 200 some miles. And then if you keep going, I mean, that'll get you a far ways up north.
She's got a way to go.
Yeah.
Presuming that it's a full tank of
sure,
gas.
From the get-go.
It's interesting. She just made a blinker and made a lane change as we continue to follow this. This is not a fast pursuit at all. It's going speed limit of about 70, 75 miles per hour, the speed limit being 65. And this is a female driver, just a solo driver behind the wheel of a Nissan Rogue, that smaller SUV. And you just wonder how this all began with that crash into a vehicle in El Cajon. We don't know if that was intentional or if it was just a mistake, and then this driver decided to panic, or if it was intentional and it's now a hit and run. Yeah, we wonder because we talk about erratic driving or possibly sideswiping a law enforcement vehicle, and that was the original want possibly for this female driver. But if that's the case, she's certainly not showing that behavior as she's driving on the freeway right now. She's been, again, using her blinker, changing lanes, not really, doing a lot of erratic driving that we normally see during a pursuit, especially not a high rate of speed either. Yeah, and we're now in Arleta, northbound on the 5, and it's been pretty much northbound on the 5 all the way from the San Diego area in El Cajon where this all began. This was in San Diego County, Orange County, now in Los Angeles County here. It's gone through the cities of Anaheim and Downey, and you have a whole list of all the cities it's gone through there, Susie. But this, again, is a pursuit of a female driver in a Nissan Rogue. CHP is after her, wanted for reckless driving and hitting a patrol car down in El Cajon. All right, Stu Mandel is over the scene in Sky 9. It looks like CHP units are both on the ground and in the air. Is that right, Stu?
That's right, Susie. And you were talking about the courteous driving that she's doing right now. All that courteous driving is really is null and void because of the fact that she is eluding officers right now. All these little positives that she might be doing really. It's for nothing. They're going to pull this vehicle over sooner or later. This is the first time we've seen her make some kind of erratic moves. Where are we exactly? Northbound 5, just passing the 405 on the northbound side, which is kind of interesting. We've actually passed the 405 on the northbound 5 down in the Orange County area earlier. So she's basically traverse the entire 405. We're talking about what the good time she's making this evening. You know, the freeways out here in Los Angeles, the way they're set up is amazing. You can get to where you need to be extremely quickly if it wasn't for that traffic. That's something to always kind of think about. The way they're set up, they put a lot of thought into it. It's just there's so much usage. This car going about 70 miles an hour, California Highway Patrol doing another little swap down there. So we're going to have to change some frequencies up here. When I say they're doing a swap, that means they're basically the fresher units are taking over, and the ones that have been following for a while are dropping back. So the ones in San Diego, they're not here right now. They dropped out. They went back to patrol their area. So that's what's been happening. We've been watching the California Highway Patrol swap out their units, keep these fresh units behind it. Everybody's kind of watching it. They are talking about possibly doing something to bring this to an end. But again, it's just going to be so difficult on a freeway. I can tell you, looking up ahead, just out the window right now, it's smooth sailing on the 5. It's going to take us into the Santa Clarita area. The possibility might take there actually is an opportunity to take the 210. Probably won't do it. This woman's been on the 5 freeway since the beginning. So it's been doing this for almost 2.5 hours, continuing on. The helicopter above, there's some fresh units coming to the aid of the ones that are here. You can see them right there. They're going to be doing that swap out. They're just getting on at Roxford, so that gives you an idea where we are. Continuing on, not the center lane, but almost the center lane.
So this is more than 150 miles from when this began in El Cajon. We do have some new information. We haven't got this confirmed, but this may not be the registered owner behind the wheel of this Nissan, which makes you think that this might be some sort of dispute or something like that. Maybe the person that's behind the wheel isn't the owner. Maybe it's, who knows, maybe it's a family member or somebody. Maybe there's some sort of dispute involved or not. We're just kind of maybe taking a couple guesses here as to what this might have occurred or the reason why this driver is behind the wheel of this vehicle. We do know it's a handicapped license plate. And again, this all began in El Cajon when it was reckless driving, sideswiped a patrol car down there.
So many questions tonight, Jeff, still with this driver. Why is this person running from law enforcement, number one? Is it just because that person was wanted for the erratic driving down in San Diego County? Is this person armed? Is this a stolen vehicle maybe? Is this a person who committed a crime? Is this someone who's intoxicated, under the influence right now? I'm going to just take a stab at it and say, just take a guess that this is not someone who's intoxicated, only because their driving has not been, they haven't been swerving or anything like that, and has been following, laws pretty much
so
the whole
far
time.
so good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's been under control the whole time that we've seen this. We've been watching this now for almost 2 hours. Or the pursuit has been 2 hours. We've been watching it for a little more than an hour here on KCAL 9. But what's really interesting is, if you think about this, is when you're talking about somebody behind the wheel of a vehicle, when they use the turn signals and what Stu was alluding to earlier about, why are they now being a courteous driver? And they're in a heap big more trouble now than they were if they had sideswiped the vehicle and just pulled over and stopped, and that probably wouldn't have been much of anything other than an accident. And then now this is all kinds of felonies. You got all kinds of jurisdictions. You got all kinds of people involved in this. You have the safety of people out on the roadways. I mean, eventually this is going to come to an end. You don't know how that's going to happen. There's just so many things that could happen. And you just wonder what was in the person's mind to think to take off from that situation. Okay, let's go back upstairs to Stu Mendel. Stu, is this person driving any faster?
Not any faster. Going uphill right now, we're just getting to the top of the Newhall Pass. So that's going to be the 14 freeway that you just saw right there that just went under the 14 northbound 5 freeway. So again, there's talk. There might be something going on out here. I've had it in the past where our folks on the social media will get at me saying, "Why are you giving away their secrets?" I'm gonna take a stab at it and say that she's probably not down there on social media right now, listening in and figuring out what the officers have planned. They may be doing some spike strips, but they're going to at least try. It's going to be extremely difficult with the freeway and the number of lanes and how they're going to be able to deploy those. Northbound 5 freeway, we're just getting out of the Newhall Pass, so they're going down the other side. Calgrove, I think, is going to be the next off-ramp, but we're getting into the Newhall area, and then, of course, Santa Clarita. A little bit of a darker area out here. Don't think it's going to affect that pursuit much. Her speed's about 70 miles an hour, 70, 75 miles an hour the entire time. Again, earlier on, we got to look at the driver's side pretty well. We looked at the passenger side pretty well, and then the front end and the rear end. And just from our vantage point, it's just what we're observing. It's, not any kind of factual or, that's something that you can really bring to the bank, but we don't see any major damage. If there was any side swiping that happened earlier on, perhaps we would see a mirror missing or some scrapage on the side of the car. That vehicle looks to be pretty intact from our vantage point. Obviously, it is darker down there, but every now and then we see the lights of the roadway will light it up, and we've got a kind of a good look at that car. So, we're just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, how this thing originally started. We do know reckless driving, that's going to be a given. What was involved in that reckless driving, that's kind of the question mark right now. California Highway Patrol, failure to yield. When we say pursuit, the failure to yield, it's one of those ones. Is it 6 or half a dozen? Doesn't really make that much of a difference. It's breaking the law, and she's keeping that distance between her and that law enforcement behind her. They got the helicopter above it. This has been going on now for, we can almost say, a solid 2.5 hours, and now we're starting to make our way into the Santa Clarita area. It started down in the San Diego area. So moving along at a good clip. California Highway Patrol, these guys, it hasn't been overly there hasn't been a lot of tension, hasn't been those crazy high speeds, hasn't been those close calls. Basically just kind of driving, just keeping those officers at bay. Female driver, Nissan Rogue. We'll see where this goes, and we kind of know that something may be happening up here in the Santa Clarita area. How that's going to happen, I'm kind of curious to see that myself.
So interesting. We see so many eventful pursuits with people eluding police and getting in and around officers and getting in and around traffic and going through stoplights and stop signs and avoiding, spike strips and stuff like that. And then we come to this. It's almost like you need an orchestra behind it. It's just slow, and it's kind of soothing. It's kind of slow, and not that I want anything to happen, but it's one of those kind of strange pursuits you see every now and then here in LA, where this is just somebody, as Stu mentioned, who has just hit the road and is driving all the way northbound on 5. And if this Nissan Rogue was to have a full tank, it would have a range of about 410 miles. And between San Diego and San Francisco is roughly 500 miles, so they can go a lot longer and a lot more than they have so far. Yeah, if it was full.
Yeah, longer ways to go, but who knows what the CHP is going to do. As Stu was mentioning, perhaps they're going to do something, but they have been talking about that throughout this entire pursuit, through the length that we've been following it since Anaheim. So it would be curious to see what they do, because as Stu was mentioning earlier, the pit maneuver, it's very dangerous, obviously. They want to get themselves in a good position, and on the freeway going, even 70 miles an hour. That can be very dangerous. Are there other cars around? Obviously, right here, you can't see other cars around. This stretch of freeway through Santa Clarita, this time of night, usually you just see a lot of trucks and semis. But, right now, it looks like a pretty clear sailing, Stu.
Pretty clear sailing indeed, and which I believe we're coming up on Valencia. The next one's going to be Magic Mountain. We'll see what's going to happen here. If it's going to take place, might happen here very shortly. This is a good spot, though. You can see this is where they're doing road construction. The 5 freeway basically is going to be is narrowed down to 3 lanes. It's not that crazy 6 lanes that we've been seeing. So if it happens, it could happen in this area right here. But again, if she's in that center lane, it's going to be very difficult to deploy those spike strips. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know if it's a plus or a minus if we don't see it. But you can see this vehicle kind of just doing its thing right now, keeping the the California Highway Patrol at bay. And slowing down for some reason. It's the first time we've seen this. So possibly
Running out of gas?
Either she knew what was coming, maybe she did know what was coming, or ran out of gas here. Just about Magic Mountain, northbound 5. This is the first time we've seen that vehicle stop. It's going to be interesting to see if this person complies with the law enforcement commands, with California Highway Patrol's commands. Coming to a stop right now, center lanes, and you've got to wonder if that car's still running, or if she's doing this by choice, or perhaps maybe she just ran out of gas.
And this is after 150 miles from El Cajon to Santa Clarita. This driver is finally stopping on the 5 freeway. This pursuit has been going on for about 2.5 hours since the 7:30 hour, and has been on the 5 freeway this entire time. The driver had many choices to take different freeways, from the 91 in Anaheim to the 605 to the 710 to the 134 freeway, but this person just drove straight on the 5 the entire way.
And now it looks like it has come to a stop near Magic Mountain, and this is going to stop all the traffic in that area. It was smooth sailing. You mentioned, Susie, about how there was no traffic whatsoever, but you can bet now this is going to be all backed up in the northbound 5 freeway. This is going to be near Santa Clarita, near Magic Mountain. Everybody back behind is going to be kept at bay, and that is going to be essentially closed here on the northbound 5 in Santa Clarita near Magic Mountain. Last time I saw, there was like 5 CHP units behind this vehicle, so you know that those 5, there we go, getting a wider shot. It looks like 3 or 4, 5, 6 vehicles behind there have now come to a complete stop.
And there's that backup that you were talking about. Obviously, this is going to take a little while. They're going to want to order that driver to get out of the car, put their hands out of the vehicle first, and slowly walk backwards as we normally see, and then get on the ground there, and that's where they get handcuffed. But we'll have to see if this woman actually complies. Let's just run you down while we're waiting for that to happen, Jeff. You see the patrol units there outside of their vehicles, probably giving those orders now. But as we watch this, we want to run you down where this all started. This all started in El Cajon at 7:30, around there. And we picked it up in the Anaheim area. The driver was wanted for erratic driving in the San Diego County area. And we picked it up, like I said, in Orange County. And they went through the cities of Anaheim and Fullerton and Buena Park, Santa Fe Springs, Norwalk, Commerce, Boyle Heights, Burbank, Sun Valley, San Fernando, and here we are just after the 14 freeway in the Newhall Pass, after the Newhall Pass near Magic Mountain in Santa Clarita. This driver, again, wanted for erratic driving was the original want, but we don't know if this person was running from anything else. Perhaps this is a stolen vehicle. Perhaps this person is armed. We have no idea. And were there other crimes committed, and causing this person to run from the law?
Yeah, this all started in San Diego County in El Cajon, went through Orange County, LA County as well. This is a female driver behind the wheel of this Nissan Rogue. And it was, as you mentioned, over 150 some miles that they traveled all along northbound 5 freeway, and that had to have been like 150 some miles. And this is near Magic Mountain, as you see here, as they're going to try to eventually get this person out. I don't see any damage to the car. We talked earlier about, we thought the initial reports were that this individual behind the wheel of this Rogue sideswiped a police car in El Cajon. I don't see any damage. Could have been on the other side, though. We haven't seen much of the right side of the vehicle. But at this point in time, that driver behind this wheel here has refused to come out. We know that they are giving her commands to get out of the vehicle, roll down your window, throw out those keys, hands up, open the door, and then walk backwards until the point they tell you get down on your knees, then get down, kiss the pavement, and then you're in custody.
That's right. And it looks like the CHP are still waiting, actually, for this woman to come out of the car. And, Stu, we've been talking about the fact that they were going to possibly, put out spike strips or maybe do a pit maneuver, who knows. But it looks like the officers didn't have to do that. Perhaps this person ran out of gas.
Susie, I've been asking around. I got Marcos up here tonight, the piloting, and he's been doing some inquiries, asking the helicopter. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at that front driver's tire, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe it's flat. Maybe it's just the angle. We don't know, but she did come to a kind of a quick stop. Just the attitude of the entire time driving for, like you said, over 150 miles, just keeping that keeping that distance is stubborn is probably a good word for that driver. She just was doing the well, I'm just not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going. So I didn't really think she was just going to jump out of the car and say, okay, you guys got me. Now these officers right there, obviously they're taking one of those right now they're shooting beanbags at the window. That's what that officer with the darker uniform is doing. They want to break out that window. First is probably for communication. Second, they might use that as an entry point later on to get inside that vehicle. But of course, she's not getting out of that car. Also, they were very concerned when this thing did come to a stop. The helicopter from the California Highway Patrol doing some orbits, there it is, and looking inside best they could just to make sure that that person is in there by herself. Now, you can see that how the law enforcement is treating this. They are treating this person like a very dangerous suspect. So that whole incident that this may have been some sort of sideswipe, was it an accident, was it on purpose, what happened earlier on down in San Diego, these officers are taking that very seriously. You can see these officers right there, they have their weapons out, their guns out. The officer with the darker uniform has beanbags, so they were breaking out the windows. See, maybe we can get Sky 9 to move around, but I'm just afraid that if we go on the other side to see a broken window, then she's going to pop the door open, something's going to happen here. So right now we're kind of hanging on this side. You were talking about the traffic. Well, it is starting to back up. California Highway Patrol, they've got already plans in place. These guys, traffic experts, they're going to try to take people off the freeway farther down the northbound 5, get them onto some side streets to get them around there. Now the officers from California Highway Patrol making an approach to that car just to see what's going on. And you can see still very tense stance. That less than lethal, that's the guy with the darker uniform, obviously broke that window out, and they may actually just hit her with that beanbag, even though sitting inside that car trying to get him out. That officer, though, on our side, that's a gun. That's a straight-out gun. He's holstering it right now. We'll see if that door's unlocked. I didn't think it would be. So we're going to see how they're going to have to get her out. It might be one of those bust out that window and help that person out of that car, or there we go.
The door.
That door is, yeah, it's...
and the other
there's
officers coming up to help out.
Intimidation, and then there you go. You knew she wasn't going to come out on her own.
Looks like she's
so
fighting.
they're going to be taking her out. There they go, helping her to the ground there, taking her into custody. But this pursuit coming to an end now in the Santa Clarita area after this thing started all the way down in El Cajon.
Well, they took a pretty quick work of that, because sometimes you sit there and you wait for a vehicle and for something to happen for, you know, longer than this. I mean, this took just a few minutes, where sometimes this takes 20, 30 minutes before they can approach the vehicle. But CHP officers making pretty quick work of this suspect in this vehicle.
Right. This is the end of a CHP pursuit that has been going on for almost 3 hours now. Actually, I should say, yeah, it has almost been 3 hours since the 7:30 hour in San Diego County. It all started in El Cajon, and it ends in the Santa Clarita area in the Magic Mountain area this evening. And CHP Pursuits has that pursuit suspect in custody.
Now, it seems that they had to grab her and pull her out of that vehicle. Now, we do know that there's a handicap sticker on this vehicle on the license plate. I don't know if they're walking away, but that looks like the suspect is walking back now. I wondered if that might have been the reason why they couldn't get out of the seat of that car. But it looks like that is a younger female. We knew it was a female driver, this Nissan Rogue. And this has ended now, is to get in the back of the CHP vehicle. And all that's left now is to get that car clear and to get the traffic on its way.
That's right. This is the end of a CHP pursuit here on KCAL 9 News at 10. We'll be right back.